Jaffer, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum, welcome to the R2F show. Just to get us started off, I want to talk about the importance of salam in Islam. The salam, the greeting, giving each other salams, initiating the salams, and returning, more importantly, returning the salams. You will find, as I have experienced and others have experienced, with dealing with especially cult groups, that when you are on the outside, one of the ways that they try to deal with people who leave or who speak against them is to shun them or to not return salams. And it's really silly. It's petty on one hand. It's like not return, they think of it as not like returning a hi or a hello or how are you doing, which is fine. But in Islam, the salam is something of religious significance for us Muslims. And it's a really silly and stupid way to actually earn sins and potentially lose blessings on the day of judgment. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he asked the Sahabas, do you want to know what the best in Islam, the best things in Islam are? And they said, of course. And he said, the best things in Islam are feeding others and giving the greeting of salam to those whom you know and those whom you don't know. So any Muslim, if you see a Muslim, it's best to initiate salams, but you must return salams. It's one of the best things that we have in Islam, right? He also said, you will not enter paradise until you believe, and you will not believe until you love one another. Shall I not tell you about something which, if you do it, you will love one another? And he said, spread salam amongst yourselves. So cult members may be saying, well, I don't love you guys. You guys are enemies. You talk about my sheikh. You talk about my community and all these different things. So I don't have to give you salams, right? And it's funny because it's not funny, but I laugh when it happens, or at sometimes when people do, when I initiate salams, I actually say, when they don't return them, I say, thank you. And there's a reason for that, because even though they think that they're upsetting me or doing something to me or doing something to anybody that they're not returning salams to, they're actually hurting themselves. And this is because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the Muslim has 5 rights over his fellow Muslim. He should return his salams, visit him when he is sick, attend his funeral, accept his invitation, and pray for mercy for him when he sneezes, saying Yarhamakallah. So right there, the first one he mentioned was he should return his salams. So if somebody, a Muslim, initiates salams, gives salams to you, it is their right upon you, if you consider yourself a Muslim, to return the salams, to say wa alaikum salam. It's their right upon you. So when you don't return the salams, you have now transgressed them. And what does it mean when we return salams, when we give salams to one another? It's actually, you're actually making dua for them. Like it has become known to be like just like a greeting for us, but Islamically, we're actually making dua for the other person. So you're asking Allah to give peace upon that person, which includes, according to Ibn Uthaymeen, he said, when you greet a person with peace upon you, this means you're asking Allah to protect him from all harm, sickness, mental illness, the evil of people, sins, the sickness of the heart, and from the hellfire. So even if you are a devout cult member and you believe that these people are speaking against your beliefs, disrespecting your sheikh, whatever, their best way to actually get them to stop, if you are upon righteousness, if you are upon the right path, is to actually make dua to Allah to protect them from these things, right? To return the salams. You're actually making dua for them. But again, for your own safety, even if it's someone I can't stand, even any member of TMOA that gives me salams, I return them. Even those who have transgressed me, I don't care what my personal feelings are for you. I am not that petty or that stupid to potentially sacrifice my hereafter just to maybe annoy somebody or show them I'm upset with them by not returning their salams. Again, the hadith says that returning someone's salams is a right upon the Muslims. And here's why, when I mentioned that, sometimes I say thank you. And then they look at me real confused, like, why did he just thank me? Right? Well, here's why. In the hadith reported by Abu Huraira, it's in Sahih Bukhari, he said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever wrongs his brother in his honor or anything else should resolve the matter today before it cannot be resolved with gold and silver coins. Right? He's saying, resolve these matters now. When you transgress somebody, when you don't give them their rights, Rasulullah is warning us, take care of that today. Either ask for their forgiveness, apologize. You have to take care of that in this world before we get to the next world, right? Because Rasulullah said, if he has good deeds to his credit, they will be taken from him according to the measure of his injustice. So all those people that do not return salams to others, some of those good deeds that you are rely upon to help you to earn Allah's mercy, to get you into paradise, to protect you from the hellfire, those are going to be given away for all the times that you didn't return salams to somebody. Then if you run out of good deeds, check out what happens. If Rasulullah said, if he has no good deeds left, then he will bear the evil deeds of the one he has oppressed. So just think about that. Imagine yourself in front of Allah, and you have your scale in front of you, and you have your scale of good deeds, and you have your scale of bad deeds. And imagine right there, your scale of good deeds is heavier than your scale of bad deeds. But then, hold up, wait. What about all these people you violated their rights? What about all these people you didn't return their salams? Let's give these people your good deeds. And then your scale, the side of your good deeds is getting lighter and lighter and lighter. And imagine, Allah forbid me, Allah protect us from this. Imagine the bad deeds gets heavier, and you run out of good deeds. And you still owe people their rights. There's still a bunch of people that you didn't return their salams. And you know what? They start throwing their bad deeds on your scale. So your bad deeds get even heavier. Like, forget all the disagreements. Remember Allah in all your affairs when you're dealing with people. Try your best to first have a loyalty and a commitment to doing what is pleasing to Allah before what is pleasing to yourself. Because you may think, we have the ayah in the Holy Quran, I don't have the exact number, but we may love a thing, but it's actually bad for us. So you think you're doing something good, you're fulfilling your nafs, you're fulfilling your pride, whatever, by not returning salams to somebody, but you're actually hurting yourself. So with that, we will get into today's show. We have an interview that we will be conducting today. We have our brother Hussein Haq on with us. We have our regular panel with Amr and Mubarak. And Hussein, are you there today? Are you there right now? I see your name's up.
Hold on. He's coming now, yeah. He's on his way.
Okay. Thanks, Salam.
Yeah, my apologies. Just some technical difficulties getting raised a little bit, but yeah, inshallah, he's coming now, inshallah. So we're good.
Okay. So, all
Oh,
right.
over here. It's wild.
Guess we got a open floor. Anybody have any questions? Any
Yeah.
topics?
Shoot some questions.
You always eating something, bro.
Oh, you know what, man? So
I'm kind of jealous. I ain't even eat dinner yet.
yeah, I mean, this is like the show like happens like right at Maghrib time or like right after. So I mean,
Yeah.
All right, be like mad tight, real tight.
it's a matter of be professional or feed the beast, and I gotta. No, alhamdulillah. No more eating. I'm good.
Now you good, Mark. You
I
good.
will go black. I will black out on y'all. If some delicious food comes my way, I'm blacking out. I'm going to go ahead and turn my screen off.
Tomorrow, I got you. Inshallah.
I'm looking forward to it, brother.
Mhm.
I'm excited.
So what what we can do? I mean, if we're in a holding pattern, if we're waiting, I can do what I was going to do at the end of the show now. If that's okay with everybody. Or...
I kind of want to touch on something too. Let me just squeeze. I know you're a little
ahead.
bit more long-winded, so let me squeeze in here. Something that's been really just grinding my gears. I'm so fed up. Hey, y'all, shut that door. Shut that door. I'm so over the hill with this. Randomly, we just started trying to beat up and bully on Mubarak Jelani once he made Mount. That is such a load of horse poo. I mean, it has to be addressed. I mean, it really does have to be addressed. I mean, honestly, literally all the brother had to do was address the letter. That letter was like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm done with that little malarkey. Oh, y'all just start bullying him ever since he knocked him.
You're going in and out, Hus.
I'm saying knock it off with this whole idea that we started bullying him. Like he was just so powerful. We were just like, man, we're just going to wait until he kicks.
R2F existed for what? This is like going on our fourth year. How many years have we been?
This has to be the 4th year, bro. It has to be the 4th year.
2019.
Yeah.
When the honorable Elijah Muhammad was like, if you can't see them, they're definitely on the corner or something like that. So I mean, yeah, it's just been here for a while.
No, listen, we're counting. We are counting our beginnings from when Jafar started his videos. That's what I'm counting.
Well, there you go.
So it was Jafar's been on the scene publicly on social media with detailed breakdowns since way back when. So this, I mean,
2000. So my first public video I made was exactly a year after the whole thing happened. Okay. So that was in 2019. So over 4 years, been publicly speaking. See, what they're doing is they're trying to make it seem like Mubarak Jelani has some kind of hold over people or whatever. People are afraid of him or whatever. But the only thing that happened really is that we finally aired our show. Right. It was actually a few months after thing, but we were making newsletters, we were putting stuff on social media, Facebook, YouTube.
Man, I've been ruffling feathers and beefing, with some of my companions literally for the last, like, no cap, 10 years. I'm not even joking. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people who know me on a personal level know that I was having no parts of this malarkey after the 2010 retreat. I was done with this. Like, come on now. So I've been beefing ever since then. So stop with this nonsense that we're all hiding in a corner somewhere and waiting for him to just really.
Yeah. Well, basically, what you can tell these people. I would tell them too if I wasn't blocked. But what I would tell people is that, okay, if we were hiding in the corner then when he was alive, they're hiding in the corner now. We're alive. They're alive. Let's do it. Come on and state your cases and your claims. We will accept the truth if you have it with you, and we'll be happy to do so, and vice versa. So now you all people are hiding in the corner from us. You have the opportunity to come on and help guide us or whatever. You won't even say a peep. Your female imam has told you, keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything. Keep quiet. And you have obeyed her order to the T. So I mean, if anybody's getting bullied, actually, it's them. They're getting bullied by their female leader who won't even let them. I heard they was like, I asked for permission to speak out against him, and it was denied. Wow, bro. I mean, that how sad is that? You asked for permission to do da'wah, and she said no.
Yeah. You know what's crazy too is that for us, right, as far as like, I guess you could say physical threat or tangible threat, we're really nothing. We're just saying words. Like, we're not gonna like attack TMOA or shut down. Like we're just really speaking against your beliefs, right? But they're so confident to like speak out and write whole. They have their own newspaper, right? They put out articles about like all these Islamophobes.
Trash.
Yeah, definitely trash. But they refute people in there, right? They refute non-Muslims that speak about their terrorist activities. But us are sitting here, right? And we've caused more damage to them than these Islamophobes that talk about their terrorist activities than any of them have. How many people have left the Jamaat within the last few months? And they refuse still to even say a peep. Who's the ones that are really scared? Jelani hasn't said a peep. Jelani's never responded to anybody that's challenged his beliefs. The only response is, okay, you can leave. I don't want to respond. So who's really afraid? Jelani was a coward, and all your leaders are cowards, and all of y'all are cowards. And it's funny because the people that have been the bravest have been females that are kind of like outside the Jamaat. They actually say, hey, I want to debate y'all. I want to challenge y'all. Oh, but I didn't get permission. They talked me out of it. That's been the bravest people.
Yeah. I mean, it's
to think.
I guess it's fitting that they have a female imam.
They're getting their fannies bursted by literally like a handful of people. Like what, a couple thousand of them, they're getting their bursted by a handful of people. It's ridiculous, and it's actually embarrassing. Like, come on, you guys.
Hold up. As the brother said, as brother Idris, may Allah have mercy on him. May Allah bless him. As he said, we got a Jamaat full of people who went and studied overseas, full of qadis, full of hufal, full of all these different things. And I mean, not one of them. I mean, one of them should be able to just like burp and produce a refutation of something we said. But they literally, none of these, the Jamaat full of all these qualifications, and we haven't really heard a peep. We hear there are some private refutation rooms somewhere, but legend has it they're somewhere, but we don't know because they're secret private refutation rooms. I mean, a refutation by
Area 51s. Area 51.
Yeah, they got great aliens and stuff down there. They refute as well.
Hey, seriously. I mean, but let's. I'm waiting. We're still waiting on the guest right now. There he is. Okay. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome to the show. Alhamdulillah, we're doing good. How are you doing, brother?
Alhamdulillah, Allah is most kind and most merciful, and I do thank you for bringing me, inshallah, in. First, I want to, of
course, sir.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, sirata allazina an'amta alayhim, ghayri al-maghdubi alayhim walad-dallin, ameen. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa barik wa salamu alayhi.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Had to give worship and praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for he's worthy of all praise and worship, and send salawats and salams on our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and my beloved young men, my brothers. Alhamdulillah.
So we're gonna let Hussein kick us off. We'll just, this is your time. It's your time to shine, your story, and we'll interject with questions here and there. But Hussein, you can get us going. Is he frozen?
He looks like he's frozen.
Kids on the internet who's.
Hey, you know how it is, Amr. You know how it is.
You gotta get off that AOL.com internet. Who's
Salaam alaikum. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, I can hear you.
Are you looking good, Unc? You're glowing over there, man. MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
God.
All right, so yeah, so inshallah, if you can just go ahead. I mean, I'm just gonna turn the floor over to you, just open speech. Come at it how you want to come at it, and share your story, inshallah.
So, I mean, for those of us who don't know, I mean, you can give us a name,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, location and stuff like that. Yeah.
My family, where like maybe we could all be related. We probably are on some level, but I can't place your face right now.
Right.
I probably have come across you. You look like someone else. I won't say her name for a second, but now I know you're not him. Anyway, but so if you can give us a little introduction to yourself and a little bio, and then we can go from there.
My name is Salik, or Abu Taqiyuddin. Alhamdulillah. I am not an original member of the Muslims of America. I am not a member of the Muslims of America. Let that be known. All right. My story, as a young man, I was being raised in the church, right? I joined the military and I was still in the church. I went from Baptist to holiness. I was prepping to be a preacher. And there was a problem with what I was being taught all those years that I had a problem with. And I asked them, the pastors and fellow ministers and everybody, these questions, and they couldn't give me the answer that I needed. So I ran into a Nation of Islam member who was selling newspapers, and the final call, and in the final call it had, from Honey's bookstore, you can order Holy Quran. So I ordered the Holy Quran. I said, well, let me find.
What year was this? What year? I'm trying to get a timeline.
This was
when they had the papers.
This was in the mid-'80s.
Okay, so it was papers circulating in the mid-'80s.
This was in early mid-'80s. And in the paper, it said you can order Holy Quran from Hani's bookstore in Chicago, right? And at that time, I was searching. I'm searching all kinds of different religions and everything. So I got my Quran. I said, dear God, if this is it, if this is the truth, I will follow it. I opened it up, and it went straight to Surah Maryam. And it answered my questions. The question was about our Prophet Isa and his mother Maryam. And it answered my questions right away. And my heart swelled up. I started little teardrops. I said, wait a minute, I heard Muslims read from right to left. So I started reading Quran in English, of course. And
how old were you during the time? How old were you during this time?
Age check, huh? Okay. I was 20.
Hey, we got,
I was in my mid-20s in 85, in 84. I was in my mid-20s. All right. And so I read Al-Fatiha. And that's why I started with Al-Fatiha, because that's what I read, and I cried. I said, this is it. So for years, I'm searching for Muslims. I had the Quran under my arm. I'm walking around. I'm in the military. I'm walking around with the Quran under my arm. I'm asking questions. I'm seeking out Muslims. I'm traveling the world. And I could find nobody who would talk about Islam. Muslims in the marketplaces wanted your money. This was North Africans. They were just selling wares. They wanted money and everything over in different countries. I'm trying to find the Muslims. I'm in the Philippines. I want to go to Mindanao. And the U.S. Embassy is saying, no, you can't go there. They're not the same Muslim as you. Okay? So I'm stumped, puzzled. So finally, I make my way to Delaware. And one of my best friends at the time, he tells me, you still Muslim? I said, yeah, man, I just can't find nobody. And he tells me, right across the parking lot from us, Candy's a Muslim. Candy's a Muslim? Okay. So I run into her at the grocery store and I'm trying to talk to her, trying to get some information. And she's got the key. She's covering her face. And she gives me her husband's number. Okay. Her husband happens to be a barber at one of the local barbershops. So I go there for my haircut. And the first thing he says in my ear, he starts reciting Al-Fatiha. And he recites it in English. So I'm like, alhamdulillah, this is it. I found it. Right? So I left there and I go to Value City at the time, had a clothing Value City. So I go there and I'm with my ex-wife and my little daughter at the time. And I'm in there and all of a sudden the lights flicker. I said, something's going on. And I look up, there's a Muslim family coming through the door. I'm like, wow, Muslims. This Muslim family came over to me. The brother, I gave salams. The brother said, you Muslim? I said, yeah. He said, you got shahada? I said, yeah. He said, you got shahada? I said, what's that? So he told me, and I said, well, the brother that, at the barbershop told me to stop by his house tonight. And he said he's going to give me something. I think that's what he's going to give me. He said something about something. And alhamdulillah, the family that I met was Brother Abdul Rashid, AKA Blue, Hanif's Abu.
Alhamdulillah.
His mother,
Mashallah.
his little brother, Jamal, and his little sister.
Alhamdulillah. Mashallah.
Alhamdulillah. So I took my shahada that night. And up until that point, like I said, I hadn't met Muslims, any Muslims that want to talk about Islam. So from there, within a month and a half time, about 30 of us took shahada. At the alhamdulillah, at the hands of Allah from the brother that gave me shahada.
So just to be clear, it wasn't Mubarak Jelani that made you become Muslim or guided you to Islam? Okay. No. My and this what made my breakaway easier in that manner, that I became Muslim by Allah's leave because that's what I wanted. Yeah.
By Allah showing me the truth, but we have to be careful. And I tell everyone this, we have to be careful even when we find the truth. Shaitan is still our avowed enemy.
Yep.
And what did he say? He said he will wait on the path of the believers. Right? And he still tricked me. Okay. He still tricked me as time went on, because there was no dawah center there in Delaware. There was no dawah being, brothers probably were doing individual dawah, because brothers are merchants, they give dawah to their customers. But we 30, the majority of us, we started an Islamic center. We started giving dawah at Del State University, and did different programs. This was all new shahadas, because we had that zeal, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And with that zeal, Shaitan knows you have that zeal, so he's gonna bait you into things. And this is what happened. We took the bait, and we bit into the apple of of the foolishness of the shirkism.
Yeah,
we didn't know.
So if I can ask you a question,
yes.
Hanif J. Williams, his father, which gave you your shahada.
Well, he didn't give me my shahada.
He did not.
No, another brother named Zayd did.
Okay, but so his father was with you, or I thought I heard like him mention that.
Yes, I met him at the Value City the same day, the day when I was going to take my shahada.
Okay. Okay.
But after that point, after I took my shahada, boom, I started seeing Muslims. I saw Abdul Rashid Moore, Abdul Azim Mu'min, who really looked out for me. And these are two brothers that I really have much love for. And
so you said around 30 people after that, you noticed that had taken their shahada.
Yes.
And this whole group was not associated with TMOA or Jelani at the time at all, or were there?
We were just new Muslims. And we were, myself, I can speak for myself, being a military man, I wanted, and being the way I grew up, we had unity. We had neighborhood and family and love for each other. And this is what I was looking for, okay? And I did get that from some of the brothers that were there. But as time went on, getting into the big fold of things, you find that it's not what you thought it was. Not Islam, but what you got involved in.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So how did you get introduced to how did you kind of get introduced to the whole Jelani or TMOA?
Because the families the Muslim families that were there already were part of TMOA. Okay.
Okay.
So just being around them, learning different things, learn the basics, because really that's all they can teach you. Okay. Learning the basics. And from that, as a new Shahada, I was told we had to find land. Okay. We had to find lands, we could move into it. And that's what we did. Myself, Muhammad Ali, I think Muhammad Ali had taken Shahada maybe probably about a year before me. He was from Jersey area. And we came down to Virginia and we found.
Okay, just to be clear, Muhammad Ali, you're talking about the Caucasian brother, Muhammad Ali?
Yes.
AKA Matthew Garner? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Yes. Right. We came down to Virginia and looked for land. Mm-hmm. And we found land. We found it, went back up, got the Emir at the time, brought him down, and we purchased land. They wanted me to be part of the purchasing party. Right?
But you was on the scout team. You were the one that helped scout the land.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Of course, I wasn't able to sign because my wife at the time, I had at the time wasn't Muslim, so they didn't think it would be a good idea, which alhamdulillah, I am so glad that that was the case.
Right.
But like I said, my intentions were I believe, and the intentions of the other 30. But what I will say is that people were taken advantage of, okay, because of their newness. Mm-hmm. It happens a lot. I'm sure it still happens if they're giving dawah, if they're giving shahadas. I don't even know if they are or not. I haven't been around anybody like that. But,
yeah, they definitely aren't. They don't do any type of public dawah. There might be individuals who do their own thing, but nothing like organized for the community.
Yes, yes. And even when I was a part of that, that wasn't going on. And
they've actually made public announcements that they are not taking any new members at this point.
Okay. So. But you still don't call. That means you don't call anybody to Islam, right?
Yeah.
You don't call nobody to Islam because we got this. We all set. So.
Yeah.
No, man, come on.
So real quick, how was your transitioning into joining TMOA? Was it something like was there a point where they actually asked for you to officially join? Or did you just kind of assume in because this is the people you were around and learned Islam from? For me, I just kind of morphed into the community just because that's who I was around for years and years.
Right. Well, my wife, I have not my wife now. She had taken her shahada and then she got married in the community and they got divorced and then we got married. I moved down here because I had never moved down. As a matter of fact, Amr's parents were already down here. They were in another part of the Virginia area, which
Meherrin, yeah.
Yes, Meherrin. Yeah. Another family I love very much. That's Hussein's family. We're family.
Yeah.
But I wasn't I wasn't pressured into it. As a matter of fact, later I was told that not everyone here is actually a talib or actually a member. There are some who are really just associates. Okay.
Wow.
So,
okay.
So let me ask this: could the associates give money as well, or did they have a separate situation? I'm just asking. I mean, was it like different tiers and brackets? If you're associate versus
we want this money from this bracket, that money from that bracket, and it's all the same. Yeah.
10%.
But you know, we the money.
Do you remember, like, at any point? I know for me, it's like a gray area, like of when Jelani became like a big deal. Because like at first you just like learning regular Islam, like the basics, and then all of a sudden like everything just became about Abuji this, Abuji that. Do you remember? Like, do you remember any time in your history like it might have raised your eyebrow, or when it first became like a topic about the Sheikh?
Yes. When we were told to look for land, the Sheikh said, "Look for land." You know, which made sense. It made sense. Look for land, get out of the cities. You know, everything. But as time went on, the more you would hear the Sheikh. If you wouldn't hear, Allah says, you know, this, or the Prophet says this, you would hear, you know, Shah-Sub said, or the Sheikh said, you know, and the more I hear this, the more it makes me think about Pastor such and such. Pastor such and such said this, and that. Well, what did the Bible say? Well, Pastor such and such said this, and that. So, you know, so for me, I went years struggling with this. I'm like, something is not right. And I kept hearing things that didn't match the Quran. I said, let me read. I got to read. This is not matching, right? And I saw how people were treated that asked questions, right? So it's like, well, wait a minute. It finally got to a point where I'm listening. I'm like, wait, this is not right. You know, I feel very uncomfortable with this, but I'm stuck. And this is why I'm on. This is why I'm on here now, is because I know there's people that are stuck. They feel that they're stuck.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm crying out to them right now. Anyone who's listening who feels stuck, you are not stuck. I thought I was stuck until all I had to do was cry out to Allah at Tahajjud, you know, beg my Allah to relieve me of this. Because I said I would follow the truth. I said I would follow the Quran, right? And I would follow the Hadith, authentic, you know, which I failed. We all failed doing that. But we tried it. And the law says, do you think simply because you say you believe that you will not be tested? Yeah. You'll be tested with your sincerity. You'll be tested with trying to follow the truth. You'll be tricked. Shaitan is waiting for you. And when I finally cried out to Allah, kept crying out to Allah, free me, to Allah, please help me. Because who else can help? Only Allah. And Allah released me from that. And I'm telling everyone who feels that way, that you feel you have nowhere to go, how you're going to do this and do that. Allah made this world spacious for us to go. That you'll find Muslims. Muslims will find you. Allah will send people to you if you are sincere. So
now, do you looking back at looking at your mindset of like when you felt like you were stuck, and then, you know, calling out the law, and Allah sends you the guidance to you know, to free you from that feeling of being stuck? Because I know there's a lot of people in TMOA that had that same feeling. I'm stuck, and they feel like so much bad is going to happen if they actually break away. Right. Like now, looking back, now that you have broke away and looking back at your feelings, like were your feelings justified, or did Allah make it easy for you? Like tell the people about that a little bit.
Well, when I finally made the physical move, Allah had placed things for me to be able to move, but I couldn't physically move my family and myself out yet. Right, the county I moved to wasn't going to let this happen because I've been living illegally and everything. So, but mentally I had already checked out. All right, spiritually I had already checked out with you know. So it came time to sign the bayat to the woman.
What year was this?
The same year when it came out, when was that? 2000, what was that? 9, 10, something like that.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah. And I said, no, man, this can't be right. So I was called over to Muhammad Ali's house. I was summoned over there. I went there, and he said, "Aki, you didn't sign the Sheikh shots upset." I said, and I love Muhammad Ali. All right, he's a good man. Anyway, I said, look, Aki, Islam is not about Sheikh Jelani. Islam is about Allah. And Allah sent his messenger, Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to guide us with the hadiths, the Quran, the Sunnah. This is what it's about. It's not about not about nobody else. It's not about Sheikh Jelani. And after that, I left. And of course, he had to go report that. And then, can't remember if it was the next day or that evening. Anyway, they usually do it at night, when it's becoming night, tell you have to leave, right?
Yeah.
So they approached me. It was him and a couple of young men. And they approached me. I was in my yard, and they approached me, and it's getting dark. And if I don't sign, I have to leave. Okay. So what do I do now? I have my little children, because Muhammad Taqi and all of them were young. They were little guys. They're in the house with my wife. So what am I supposed to do now? Do I go tell them that I have to leave, but they have to stay?
Right there, trying to break up your family.
My family, yes. Yeah. So what do I do now? Okay. Do I go in and tell them I have to leave? And then my children are left and wife is subjected them? Do I go in the house and don't come out? What happens then? All right. Do I just take my family and we out in the streets? So I had to weigh my options here, because I knew it. If I go in my house and if they come across the threshold to my house, there are several things that can happen. None of them are good.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm going to say. All right. There could be bloodshed on the doorstep, or there could be bloodshed in the house. We don't want that, right? But Allah says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, "O you who have believed, do not enter houses other than your own houses until you ascertain, welcome, and greet their inhabitants. That is best for you. Perhaps you will be reminded." So, if you're not following Quran, if you're not following the Sunnah, this means nothing to you, right? This means nothing to you, because Sheikh said, go do this. And that's evil. There are many evils. There's many evils that are done. And we know of cases that this has happened, where people, they just went in people's house and whatever.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. So during this time, did you have a close companion that lived on the land to where you could confide in and try to seek some type of counsel to see, like, what should I do? Like, no. Perhaps was Muhammad Ali in this space?
No, he was under the orders to do what he had to do. So, Okay,
but you didn't have a close enough relationship with him to where you could go and ask him, like, okay, this is a little, what should I do with my family? Or it was kind of like an isolated situation? No,
this is what they wanted you to do. They want you to either sign it or you leave and leave your family there. Bas. So,
wow.
So,
real quick, I just want to mention that, like, the whole, like, this is a form of abuse, right? Like, they come to you at night, put you and your family in a certain situation, right? Look at, according to Sharia, if a person apostates in a Muslim country and says, or commits blasphemy or says something bad, like apostates, says, I do not believe in Allah and Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I don't, right? They could say that in a Muslim country.
Right.
They get 3 days to get educated, taught about the right path. This is for an apostate. Now you're talking about someone who's saying, I don't want to sign this because it's not part of the Quran and the Sunnah. And they come and say, no, you got to do this now or get out. When an apostate in a Muslim country would have been treated better.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
But when you don't follow Quran, like I said, when you don't follow it, it means nothing to you.
Yeah.
When they're setting these, let me say this real quick.
Yeah.
When they're setting these rules and regulations in place, or they're telling you X, Y, and Z, are they of the understanding that that's your property, that you move that property, the mobile home? I'm just trying to get this clear here. So when
everything was Sheikh's property.
So, onto this property, by default, it becomes Mubarak Jelani's property? It is?
The land was Sheikh Jelani's property, according to them. Everything on it, the birds that fly over.
Oh,
okay. So I could have went another way. I'm sorry, there's another way. It was fourth way. I could have called the police because that's my property, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah. So in this time, so like let's just for the people to understand what's happening here. You're part of the group that actually found the property. Could have possibly been part of the group that would have been on the actual name of the deed that signed the property, but you didn't because of certain risks with your ex-wife. Have your own house built on the property, funded it, whatever, all that, and they're like, no, this is all Mubarak Jelani's, and now you got to leave it. This is his. Everything on here is his. Someone that had actually nothing to do with any of what actually exists there.
Right. I never met him. I never met Mr. Jelani. He never met me. Of course, they can believe if they want that he can fly over here and see you and all this shirky stuff, but
Okay, so Assalamualaikum, Uncle Salik. Thank you for coming on the show. I'm happy to have you here. So Uncle Adin messaged me, and he wants to give you his salam and tell you he loves you. That's first thing first. And then he wants to he wants to ask you about how did Matthew Gardner become popular, and do you know anything about the halala that he was involved in, or did you hear about it during your time?
No, only time I heard about it was when Abdul Sabur had come on the show. And I'm not going to doubt that it happened. I mean, I believe the word, but I know Muhammad Ali is the type of man who he was all in.
Yeah.
Okay. And what happens?
He's told.
Yes. So that's abuse, man. That's abuse, and that's oppression. The people are oppressed, and Allah. Oh man, this is what I'm saying. When you don't care about what Allah says, Allah has forbidden oppression for Himself. Allah has forbidden oppression for Himself. What do you think He has done for everyone else? You cannot oppress, and this is oppression to the people. And this is why, with those of us, and maybe your Abus and other people who were misused. Some of them misused others. Okay, and now I realize, wait a minute, it's not that individual. That individual suffers from a PTSD or some form of abuse, and then it carries over to someone else. Just like a child who was abused or a woman who was abused in marriage, they end up doing it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay. So the one who started it is responsible. The one who started, told people to do haram, told people to do the evils, is responsible. And unless they ask the law for forgiveness and told their talibs or whoever it is not to do it, they carry a lot of weight.
Yeah.
They have to carry this to a law. And unfortunately for Mr. Jelani, he's gone, and all of his deeds, good and bad, are with him when he faced the law.
That's not it though. Because the thing that does carry on is if you teach someone to do something that is incorrect, then every time they do it you are going to be rewarded with the credit. Well, it doesn't matter whether you teach them good or bad. Whatever good or whatever you teach another person, as far as the religion or some actions or whatever, you will get the reward for that. If it's good, you're going to get a duplicate reward of the good. If it's bad, you're going to get a duplicate reward of the bad. So if people really love their sheikh, they would, once they know some things that he taught were incorrect, they should stop them immediately and speak out to stop other people from doing things that he taught. If they actually loved him, they would do that.
Exactly. And that's why I appreciate, and I'm loving what you all are doing. Okay. And I support it. And there's many others that support it who have not come on, or but you're right, Merrick, you have to. If you say you love something, you have to do what you just said. Because if not, you're carrying on the oppression, you're carrying on the wrong teachings, and other people are suffering. And the one you say you love, he bears the weight of that also. And so do you who are doing it.
So we got up to the point where they pretty much came to your house and unjustly tried to kick you off your own property. But before that, besides the signing of the bayat to the female leader, were there any other things that were like red flags to you? Like we mentioned the halalas. Were you aware of like halalas that happen in Jamaat, or any other types of wrongs or evils that happened?
I had heard about a couple. I won't mention their names I heard about a couple, because and you don't know until you start learning.
Yeah.
Because you just
we're not blaming any of the people who necessarily were involved in these halalas, except for the one directing them to do it. Because when a person enters into Islam, a lot of times they're well, in any situation, you're only going to know what you've been taught. So if someone teaches this as part of Islam, then it's our duty to learn as much as we can. But the blame, as far as we're concerned, is on the where it's coming from the top down. And these people who are just literally, they hear what is said and then they follow it, and really they're thinking there's some sort of divine instruction here. So we don't want to blame them, nor do we want to out anybody who has had one.
To tie into what Mubarak was just saying is very important, because a lot of us just growing up, we just trusted, and our trust was violated and broke.
Yes.
There was no reason for us to pick at this or that. You know what I mean? Just thinking it was a higher level of understanding and stuff like this. And the whole time it was just wasn't true. It was a farce. It was a fraud, a scam, a sham. But we were trusting the whole time, as young men. We just looked up to the elders. We believed what they were saying. Even when, I remember very vividly, I'm not going to get into it, but they just kept remixing the Daruds after Juma. And I'm just thinking, okay, no, I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm serious. They just kept doing it. Like anytime they felt like it, it was just a new name added, a name omitted or taken out. Mubarak Jalani, we had to say his name 3 times. Like we're, trying to Candyman or something like this at the end of it. It's like, what is going on?
You have to understand magic. That's how magic works too.
But the trust, for me, the trust is like a real big issue. I'm having trust issues now because of this whole situation that we all went through. You know what I'm saying? And it's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah, there's a lot of you're not the only one. Okay. I am the same. Okay. Even though I'm an older man, I was still new to Islam, when I joined. So when I came in and when I got around the community and everything, so I went through I feel the same as you, but the whole generation was lost. A whole bunch of young men in prison, even right now. Some of them, I think, were your age, Hussein, or maybe a little younger, older. What were they done? Marched around they pulled out of schools, marched around on the land, and not given anything. I was told to teach algebra, to these young men, algebra. I hadn't done algebra in 20-something years. I can't spell algebra now. So, you know, but you have to give, Allah takes something from you, give you something better, you know? So you're being pulled out of schools and you're not giving them anything. What happens? The shaitan whispers, the boredom, they're looking for something to do and they turn to a life of crime. And this is what happened. We got young men right now sitting in prison, you know, behind all this foolishness. You know, when are you going to learn? You're supposed to be raising young men and women to take over, to lead the world. But this is not set up for the world. You didn't come for the world. You came for the little group of ignorant Negroes, you know, who are told don't get involved in different movements, with different movements who are trying to help the Black people here in America, you know. And I was involved in a lot of activities outside of MOA. You know, we had our own, some of us brothers in there, we had the Islamic Political Party of America. We did different things. IPA, right.
Yeah, I remember that.
We really were making headways, you know, uniting with various other Muslims.
I told to stop?
Broken up, told it belongs to Mr. Jelani.
To him.
All right?
What belongs to him?
It's crazy because, like, you know, there's this whole idea of charity beginning at home, you know, with everything. It's ayats and Holy Quran. It's like when it talks about giving charity, you start with your close family members first and then move out. So this whole concept of like taking care of yours first. And it's the same concept like when you're on their plane, when they say when there's a emergency happening, you have to put your air mask on first before you put someone else's on, because if you don't, you pass out and you can't help anybody, right?
Exactly.
So it's actually Jelani's policy and TMOA policy, instructed by Mubarak Jelani, that the Muslims of the Americas are not to get involved in any African American issues or protests or movements, but they can go march for you know, all the Indian issues. Of course, we want to help.
Exactly. Right.
Why are we ignoring our own people right here?
And I wasn't one for that either. So I did what I had to do, you know, because, you know, we can see by those who come here and sell alcohol and everything else, open up these stores and sell alcohol and everything, they sell it to people that look like us. Right.
Yeah.
All right, so
but we
got a question that came in off the sideline. Sometimes we get these questions in. Do you still talk to Matthew Gardner? I mean, Muhammad Ali. Do you have, because you seem to have you had a pretty fairly decent relationship with him when you were in, and can you invite him on the show?
I haven't talked with him in years. I don't have a way of contacting him. I do not go out there.
Was that because of your separation with TMOA, or is it?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay.
That's my choice not to do that. They didn't say you can't. You banned from.
Gotcha.
I don't want. I just, you know.
So how would that interaction? How would that interaction go if you and him seen each other right now today?
If I seen Muhammad Ali, I think we'd be all right. We can sit down and talk.
Oh, y'all chop it up a little bit?
I think we could.
Okay.
But as far as, and I'm making this plea as well for any one of the MOA members, administration especially, who are so brave. Why are you not coming on this show? The platform is set for you to defend, to give your piece, to portray to the world your beliefs. Don't hide behind.
That's a good point.
Don't hide behind the skirt. Don't hide behind the veil.
Quite literally.
For real. You're hiding behind the veil. Come on.
I need to post that right now.
How the little kid is holding on to his umi's overgarment. He's kind of like,
how to shy. Yep.
And if all you have to do is come, because you brothers, you're presenting all your evidence. You're presenting evidence from the Quran and from authentic hadith, not from stories, not from fairy tales or Dr. Seuss books.
Dreams.
Okay, right. Come on. All you have to do is do this. And if you're correct, I'm sure each and every one of you and I will correct ourselves on whatever you're coming with, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
But
we had your son Taqiyuddin on, and I had dealt with him a few times just on some other stuff, but I think his interview was one of the most eye-opening, and not to just pat him on the back too much and gas his head or yours, but that is one of the most wholesome human beings I have ever come in contact with. He's just a good person. It's like coming out of his pores. And I would say the credit goes to you, and of course to his mother, before any other human beings, for sure. And I would say we appreciate the work that you have done with him, because all of us are better people for knowing and dealing with him. I think everybody can feel that sentiment. I would say. So what are your that maybe some insight into your son Taqiyuddin, because he was one of our best interviews, and so we would like to have a little more insight from you, his father, the one who injected this goodness into him. Alhamdulillah.
Well, alhamdulillah. Well, one thing I've always told him and all my children and the youth to always ask Allah to keep you in the company of good people, right? Even if they're not Muslim, if they're good people, right? Because good, propagates good. So alhamdulillah, he's held on to that, and he is, alhamdulillah, Hussein and his family, his brothers, matter of fact, he's part of the family, married into the family, but he surrounds himself with good people. And
did you and him have conversations about TMOA? Or did like you kind of leave before him? Was he on the juice, or was there some sort of one of you convincing the other to any of that, or was it just pretty much you both had the realization pretty much at the same time, or was he never really on the?
He was a kid.
Yeah.
Okay. He was a kid. We moved when I left. He was a young teenager. Mm-hmm. So we never had a discussion about why we left. They were just happy. They had more land, space. They could run around, do things. Their friends can come over. Had their own rooms. But they stayed in contact and to this day with their friends, and alhamdulillah, their companions is Hussein's brother, and several other young men whose their families have also walked away. So it made it easier.
I have a question.
Yes.
What was your wife's position, your current wife now? What was her position during this whole matter? Like, how was she? Was she kind of like feeling everything, or was she just more so following what you were doing? Did she have some questions? Did you guys have any debates or disputes about these issues in the house?
No, she didn't buck. She didn't fight anything. She didn't. No, and she still has her companions, her friends who are, hold on, one sister out that way, another one right down the road from us. So.
Okay, so where I'm getting at, Unc, is what would be to let's say the women that are in these situations, they have a safer position because they can kind of like default to the man's authority and just kind of go along with the flow. So what would you say to some women, Muslim wives that are trapped underneath their husband's authority in regards to trying to leave TMOA?
And their husbands are still in TMOA, and the
That's
women
correct.
want to leave. Okay.
Yeah, I know quite a few situations like that.
Once again, the women can make tahajjud too, right? They have that time where they can speak to Allah. And Allah knows your heart. Allah, just like with men, Allah, we're the same when it comes to approaching Allah. And Allah will remove them from this foolishness. And if the husband wants to continue to follow foolishness, Allah will make a way that he's going to just keep going, or Allah may open his eyes and his heart. You know, I cannot and will not tell anybody to leave anybody. That's not my authority of that. You know, but cry out to Allah, and Allah will make that way. If you're sincere, Allah will make it happen. Allah will.
It's very good advice, because this has come up a few times, and it's difficult because people contact us, and we're not about breaking up families. We're not like, oh yeah, just leave them, or just leave her, or just, you know, we're not about that. But especially for the females and the males too, to a certain point, but especially it's on the females, there's a burden there, because if your husband fully believes, understands, and believes in this stuff that really takes people outside of the fold of Islam,
right,
technically you actually are not married. So you have to really consider the position you're in, and really get up and make those du'as and seek Allah and seek counsel and try to do what you need to do so that you're straight with Allah.
Exactly. Yeah, because she cannot be married to if he's, you know, but like you said, we can't tell her to leave, but we have to encourage her to.
Honestly,
we'll say that the onus is on the individual, whether it's the man and he's married to a woman who completely 100% out of her mouth, she says the things that would take her beliefs out of. Like some people just in the Jamaat, they believe that Jilani is, some sort of sheikh, even if they believe that he knows something or whatever. That doesn't necessarily take a person out, as far as I understand. But the belief in the 7 sultans and that they are sparks of Allah's nur and all these things, if someone understands that and it's explained to them that how it's shirk, and they still believe it, and they still say, I know what the Quran says, I know what the Sunnah says, I know what Islam says, but I still believe that, then that is a marriage just by default. It's over, because it's like a person who has left Islam. Then therefore the marriage is not valid. You can only be married to, a man can only marry a Muslim, a Christian, or a Jew. And a person who has apostated or has left Islam based on some un-Islamic beliefs, they don't fall into any category. So they would have to be questioned. They definitely would have to be talked to, and it would need to be very clear what they were upon. So we're not telling anyone to say, oh, well, you know, he went to the, you know, to visit Jilani's shrine or whatever, so he's a kafir, and whatever the case may be. We can't, we're not saying that. What we're saying is that it is on you to do your due diligence, to investigate and to ask, because Allah knows whether a person is a Muslim or not. And once you know that there's a possibility, then you have to talk with your spouse, the man or the woman, and say, okay, this is what I believe and understand about Islam. The Quran says this, the Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says this, and this is not part of it. So where do you stand? If they take themselves outside of Islam, I mean, you can't just try to hang on to it just because, you know, however long the relationship is, because as Allah says in Quran, on Qiyamah, the husband and wife will flee from one another and try to ransom each other to save themselves and their children and their family members and everybody on the earth if they could. So don't hold on to something. Try to convince them, give them dawah, okay? But you can't just say, well, they don't believe in Islam. They believe in something else, the 7 sultans. It's not part of Islam.
Right. That's part of Islam.
We just have to basically say, you know, it was a good run. It was a good run, but until something changes, it's over.
Right. And Allah will replace that person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Allah will give you something better, because now you're taking that step towards Allah. You know,
I would say this is actually a very, very deep topic that we're going on right now, because again, I have family members who, once again, they understand and they know that I'm addressing the females. They know that their husband is off to see the wizard. They know that what he's, you know, what he's saying and what he's trying to lead his household with is incorrect and it's upon shirk. You feel what I'm saying?
Mhm.
The dynamics are real deep because the kids, the wife it falls under the husband's authority, and she can't just leave. So she's kind of like, would have talks and stuff like that. And it's a family member of mine, and it's really, really a really tough situation. And I'm just trying to figure out and get some angles as to how to help her. You know what I'm saying? And it's real deep. It's real deep. And I do have a question
Go ahead.
from someone. They wanted to know. We have to ask you about the Dover people. Are you familiar with this? The people of Dover or something like this?
Okay, that's where I took my shahada.
I want you to touch on this. That's it? That's all you got?
No, what am I touching? I mean, on the Dover people. What am I? I'm not sure what they're looking for.
Ask them what happened to the Dover people. What happened to the Dover people?
Oh, as far as I know, of the whole 30, maybe 4 or 5 are still practicing Islam. That's including me.
Wow. Now, does that have anything to do with the type of Islam they're learning through TMOA, their interactions with TMOA, or just natural course of life, something, stick with it?
I can't speak for them because I don't know, I know some were mistreated. That could have been it. Okay. And some could have moved on, like I said, I only know of 4 or 5, that are still practicing Islam.
And are they, besides yourself, are they left, or are there some still in TMOA? Or how does that work?
Let me think. There may be 1 or 2 and still in TMOA. I don't know. I'm not even in contact with them, so they could have, they could be going also.
Okay. This reminded me of a question because of going back into your background, and coming back from a Christian background, coming from like basically a Christian scholarship background, because you're studying to be a preacher. So you know a lot about Christianity, and how certain Christian beliefs contradict Islamic beliefs. And I don't know if you've seen the video we put out there about Hussein Adams repeating the beliefs taught by Jelani, that so-called they believe in the Trinity. Like, how does that make you feel, coming from like a Christian background, finding the truth of Islam, and then hearing top leaders of TMOA saying that Muslims believe in the Trinity?
It's sad. It's sad, but at the same time, like I said before, if you don't follow the Quran, it means nothing to you, because the law says, say what? Do not say Trinity.
Right.
The law says don't say this. And you turn around and you say this. And I'm asking the brother, I'm asking him to beg Allah for forgiveness and correct his ways, and walk correctly, and help somebody else walk correctly. Refute what you just said yourself. Refute your words that you said on that stage, you and the sister.
Down too. That's made it worse, that he doubled down and said it again at another press conference. I have a question, Uncle.
Yes.
Is there any of your friends that you lost because you left the Jamaat? Like, because this happens to a lot of people where like they're friends in the Jamaat, right? But then as they leave the Jamaat, or one leaves the Jamaat, then they're no longer friends anymore because they're not in the Jamaat anymore, and now they can't talk to each other. Is that something that happened to you also, or no?
It may have, but I'm the one that left. I don't even,
Okay.
A friend is going to be a friend.
Yeah.
I left many places.
Mm-hmm.
I left many of people. My skin is thick when it comes to things like that. I left the military. I left a lot of people in there. I left the military when the lies were told and they were invading. They called it the Gulf War.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's when my enlistment was up. I left because at that time I thought I was Muslim. Okay, and I hadn't taken Shahada, but I thought I was Muslim. I said, "There's no way I can go," even though I may not have gone there. I couldn't be a part of what was happening. And I had a lot of friends in there. They may not be my friends now. There's one that still is. he's not Muslim, and I'm, inshallah, Allah will open his heart, open the light that he placed in his heart. And so I got used to it. I left home I left, joined the military when I was 18. I didn't even tell any of the people that I grew up with around there.
Mm.
All right.
Nice.
Because just like when I left the land, when I left the TMOA, I didn't sit down and have a discussion and say, okay, I'm leaving. I didn't make no announcement.
Mm.
I left. Okay. Mm. And they will tell you if you're in something. I left. They came there probably one day and seen that nobody was there in the trailer. We packed up, we left.
Yep.
There was no reason for me to sit and talk with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So you can try to fill my head with baloney.
Yeah.
Haram baloney, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, there was no reason, just like you weren't going to have a discussion with me when you were telling me I had to leave.
Yeah.
Right.
There was no reason for me to do that. No reason to have an argument, no fight, no fuss. I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Right? Islam is about Allah. Allah is everywhere.
Yep.
So, and I was told when I moved to my property out here, before I moved, and let me backtrack a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Several of the brothers that really taught me a lot, and may Allah, they've passed on, and may Allah make their grave spacious, and may Allah forgive their sins and open wide the gates of Jannah and allow them to, for those. One was Jamil Abdul Rahman, not better known as Naib or Ustad Jamil.
Yeah.
All right. Another was Abdul Rashid Blue. Ali Abdul Rashid Khalifa, ex-Khalifa Ali Abdul Rashid.
Mm-hmm.
Especially him and Jamal Abdul Rahman. These were the two that I hung out with. We would go around the country, right? Doing good things, not on missions.
Yeah.
We were doing good things, right? We were going to the UN, United Nations. We were doing good. And this wasn't on behalf of Mubarak Jalani. This was on behalf of MOA. This was on behalf of the Muslims in the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they taught me a whole lot. They opened my eyes to a lot. They never spoke against whatever was going on, but they showed me things. They introduced me to people that were making things happen.
Yeah.
And when these brothers went back to Allah, what were the people told? You cannot go to their janazah. You cannot go to by orders of Mr. Jalani. You cannot go. You cannot go to the janazah. Okay. So what is the rights of a Muslim?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? That is one of the rights of a Muslim, that you attend their janazah.
It's funny. We always have. It seems to happen almost every show. Like something that myself or Mubarak either opens with or closes with, it actually ties into whatever we talk about in the show. Wow. I opened up about talking about the rights of Muslims, about giving salams, going to janazas, visiting while they're sick.
Allahu Akbar. I didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what happens. So if you don't care about what Allah says, if you don't care about what Rasulullah says, we can't help you.
Yeah.
We cannot help you, but we still have to speak out.
Yeah.
Because there's maybe that one that's going to listen, but we still have to speak, because that's our duty. Whether you listen or not, Allah says what? Whether you tell them or tell them not, because Allah is who makes Muslims.
Let me ask you this. Because we want to, inshallah, try to wrap up here. But
okay,
there's a couple questions that I really want to get off my chest here. So, what are your final thoughts regarding Mubarak Jalani in the, I guess the information or whatever he brought his mission? What are your final overall thoughts, and how do you view him? I mean, we know he's passed on, obviously, but what are your thoughts about him as an individual, as a leader, or someone spiritual? What are you gonna say?
I'll say this. One, like I said, I never met him, and he is responsible for everything that went on. The leader, just like if you're the leader in the military, you're responsible for your troops. Mm-hmm. This one is claiming something else. This one is claiming spiritual level, spending some sparks and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. Being part of Allah. Come on. He's responsible for all that. You know, I don't even think about it. The only time I'm thinking about it right now is when we're talking. He's not even a thought. You know, he's in his grave, and it's between him and Allah. You know, I hope and pray that people will walk away from this, right, and learn Islam all over. We had this discussion all the time. Some of us other brothers, we got to learn our Islam all over. We have to learn the deen over.
You ain't lying about that, Unc. You ain't lying about that. But to stay on that situation, if you could choose one word to describe Mubarak Salani, what would that word be?
But like I said, I never met him, but because of
well, let's do it this way, Sly. You're not speaking specifically about him. What would you say? If you had one word to describe his teachings and that?
Clean up, Joshua.
It's more than one word, but it's not Islam. It's not the Islam that I'm seeing in Quran and authentic hadith. So it's a lot of things that's been said already.
I'm gonna help you out, Unc. The word not Islam. In one word, you can just say kufr.
Okay. You know, if because man, I tell you, bro, I'm happy for you guys. I pray that you know, and I talked to Hafiz Abu Fatah, you know, and I'm gonna call him probably tomorrow, inshallah. But we had a good talk, and we're trying to encourage other brothers to come on and other sisters if they will. And I just feel so sad for the people who are not letting go, or you know. But what can you do about it other than keep speaking out? You know, and we're gonna have enemies. People are gonna hate us, whatever. But that's all right. I'm not living for them. You know, I'm not living for that. I didn't become Muslim for anybody. I became Muslim to save my soul.
I just want to say that, you know, on behalf of R2F and all of us, like this, whenever like people like you yourself, it takes a tremendous amount of courage and fearlessness to come up. Like, you may think that this is something little, coming on the show and telling your story, but it's actually very big because, like you said, you're trying to encourage people to come out and talk, and just you coming and telling your story will encourage a lot of people to contact us and want to tell their story. And just for anybody out there that's listening, you may think that, you know, your story is not a big deal, but everybody has a certain piece of this pie or a certain perspective that your words are going to touch a certain group of people that nobody else's words they're going to hear. Even though we may be all saying the same general thing, the way that one person says it is not going to reach certain ears of some people, but the words that you're saying are going to reach another group of people. And it all, like you said, it's all about Allah. Like yes, we care about our friends, our family and all that, but the main purpose of why we do this is because we want the blessings that Allah is going to give us for giving this dawah. So I applaud you for that, and I just want to thank you for doing that.
And one more thing, like I was talking about Jamil Abdul Rahman, he told me when I was moving out here, I said, there's no Muslims here. So he told me, he said, do like Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Allah told him, just call the adhan, call the people. And we called the adhan, and boom, found out there's Muslims down the road, an old head Muslim, he's like 90 years old now. Then all of a sudden Muslims started coming. It got to the point where we had Eid al-Adha. A few years ago, we had Eid al-Adha here, where we did the Qurban and everything. You know, this is what was happening. People, and these were Muslims I had never met before. They were just coming, you know, and made new contacts, and kept in touch with those who left, and we're still getting together, and we're trying to learn our deen again correctly, and give the dawah and feed the people, and have help the non-Muslims with different problems they have. This is what we're supposed to do: make our communities better around us, so these places become halal for us.
Alhamdulillah. So what if you had a... Go ahead, Amr.
I I just wanted to get to some of these questions before, like it gets too late. I don't want Uncle to be too late. Yep. So we had a few questions from the YouTube chat and some inside of the Zoom call. So the first question we have is they want to know about how you and your family have grown post leaving the Jamaat, and you guys I feel better post Jamaat, which obviously you do. But,
yes. Yeah. Feel a lot better when these words are told that if you leave the MOA, you will not be Muslim. Mm-hmm. The MOA does not make you Muslim.
I mean,
Allah makes you Muslim. If you say you don't believe in Allah, you're not Muslim. Come on. So right there, you fall into the trap again. So we've grown as far as there's not much Islamic education out where I'm at, right? But we're working on that because Muslims are moving to the area, and we're working on some things.
Wow.
Secularly, my children, I have a couple college graduates, nurses. Everybody's faring well and trying to do something to help mankind. Okay. Farming, we're trying to feed ourselves. Good neighbors. My neighbors, no matter what color they are, everyone has been good. Allah made it so easy when we moved out here. And we're rolling on. I've been invited to various functions. I've been invited to perform nikahs, performing nikahs all over the places. But just different communities from around the world that live, different people, Muslims from Philippines, from Malaysia, from wherever, and it's a joy, because I can see that Allah raises your station. Not that I'm anybody. I tell them I'm nobody. I'm just a Muslim. Mm-hmm. Not just I'm a Muslim. I'm your brother. But Allah keeps you involved in things in lives of the Muslims. So it can be done. Once you leave, you still be Muslim as long as you believe and keep following.
I mean, alhamdulillah. We have the next question from Mike Russell. He asked, did he know anything about all the murder and mayhem leaders of the group were committing on behalf of Jilani?
I don't. All I know is I saw it in the newspaper, though, not newspaper, but online. Like I said, I wasn't around for anything, allegedly or whatever. So.
And then I'm gonna ask this final question, and then I'm gonna chill. Ask him if he remembers Matthew Gardner saying he is the overseer in a room full of Black people.
I don't remember that.
Okay, I remember that so well. That's one of my
maybe I wasn't there.
Because this happened on the Red House land. They had this mandatory meeting. This might have been like 2008. And he's Matthew Gardner standing right where they used to call the Adhan, right? And so he's giving a speech about what he spoke about with Jilani, and he's like, Jilani has appointed me the overseer of the Red House land, right? And like he's the only white dude in the room. It's a bunch of Black people, and everyone's like, "Takbir, Allahu Akbar!" Like, really?
I can see that happening. I can see that happening. Yeah.
All right. So our last thing is
Muhammad Ali.
What in a short message, your message to TMOA members, people that are in TMOA or making their way out, what's like your overall final message that you want them to hear from you?
Well, I know there's a lot of members there who recite beautifully the Quran. They but it's more than recitation. You have to understand what you're reading, and you have to apply it. Right? If you're teaching Quran, you get the benefit, the barakah of teaching Quran, but you have to understand what you're teaching. So follow the Quran, follow the authentic hadith, and you can call people whatever you want who follow the authentic hadith. I mean, they're there for a reason. Follow these things. Follow this. Allah sent this to us to guide us. We cannot stand there and say, guide us to the straight path, but we don't believe in, and we're not following that which leads us to the straight path, the Quran and the Hadith.
Yeah.
So I'm saying to them, and to me first, and then to them, do this. and you'll see the shirk and the foolishness that you're being fed, and you'll come off the juice, you'll come off the Gerber's baby cereal or whatever it is, and walk away. You know, walk away from this. You can do it. I know there'll be people who say, well, he used to be like this, and he used to be like, yes, I am just a poor Muslim man. You know, I commit sins, and I beg Allah for forgiveness. And I beg the Lord for forgiveness for any shirk that I was a part of while a part of that community, or any shirk that I can be a part of now. And that's what you have to do. Beg Allah for forgiveness, believe in Allah forgiving you, and walk away.
Well said. And before you close out, inshallah, Mubarak, I just want to thank you, Unc. For those who do not know, Uncle Salik, he lives maybe about 40 minutes away from me in Virginia. And yeah, like he said, we're family, we're very close, and I love you dearly, and
love you too.
Respect you much.
Agreed.
Inshallah.
Love you too, and you too, Amr, and you too, Jaffer, and you too, Mubarak. I probably know your parents or somebody, man. You was out in Tennessee, right, Mubarak?
Yeah, I'm in Tennessee.
You were out there with them singing guys out there.
I wasn't one of the singing guys. I didn't make the cut, man.
Those were the Vietnamese brothers or something was out there, right? Wherever they're from. They came to my house.
I think it's about Anwar.
Yeah, they came to my house before. They came to my house when I lived on the land. They, you know.
Maybe some Laotian brothers. Yeah, they're still around, man. They all came in and pretty quickly left TMOA. They're still Muslim, but still doing their own thing. But yeah, they were on the land and they were functioning. And then once they realized, you know, because you know Asians a lot of times they about some community action and putting stuff together and making moves. Once they saw it wasn't no real moves being making, they quickly exited stage left. So
right. And that's what it's about. It's about, that's what, you know.
Yeah. So alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Yeah, I do appreciate you coming on and thank you for the time. And please encourage I know you will encourage you know anyone that does come in contact with you, because a lot of times people get calls after they come on the show, you know, how could you, or you know, why would you, and all those type of stuff. So you can funnel them and direct them to us. We don't mind, but yeah, encourage them to come on. We don't bite, alhamdulillah, but we do appreciate you coming on the show, and we encourage anyone else to come on and have a conversation, whether you're for or against. But we'll wrap it up, and we'll close up with a few ayahs from Surah Zukhruf, and go from there. So, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. وَمَن يَعْشُ عَن ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ نُقَيِّضْ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ وَإِنَّهُمْ لَيَصُدُّونَهُمْ عَنِ السَّبِيلِ وَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ حتى إذا جاءنا قال يا ليت بيني وبينك بعد المشرقين فبئس القرين ولن ينفعكم اليوم إذ ظلمتم أنكم في العذاب مشتركون. Allah says in Surah Zukhruf that starting ayah number 36, whoever is blinded from the remembrance of Allah, of the most merciful, Ar-Rahman, whoever is blinded from that means you're told, you're called to guidance or whatever, and you're blinded from it, you don't hear it, you turn away from it. What does Allah say? Allah says, we appoint for him a shayateen. We appoint for him a devil, and then he will be his companion. So think of this, everyone who's being called and told, hey, listen to this is shirk, you know, listen to what Allah says, listen to what the messenger says. Allah says the people who turn away from that, they're blinded, Allah appoints for them a devil, right? He appoints a devil from them, and he is their companion. So a brother this week was telling us about how he had given salams to a brother earlier, or the previous week, and everything was cool. Assalamu alaikum, how you doing? Hug, embrace, or whatever. But when he was with his companion, he refused the salams and ignored the brother. and didn't give him his rights and disobeyed Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So think about this. His companion, a human being, who when he was with him, he disobeyed Allah and his messenger. And Allah is saying, when you do that, he gives you a companion, a shayateen. And as we know from the surah that we all know, min al jinnati wan nas, the shayateen who help, they can be among the men, among the shayateen, or the mankind. Min al jinnati wan nas. So Allah says he appoints for you a devil that's going to be your companion. And what happens? And indeed, the devil averts them from the way, from the guidance. The devil takes them away from the guidance even further while they think they are rightly guided. This is what Allah is saying. وَإِنَّهُمْ لَيَصُدُّونَهُمْ عَنِ السَّبِيلِ وَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. They think that they are guided. Now think about a person who they think they're doing the right thing. When Rasulullah says to give the salams to a Muslim, it's their right upon you, whether you like them or not. You have to give them their rights. And you think you're rightly guided by doing the opposite of what Allah and his messenger say. But Allah is telling you in Quran that this is what he's going to do to you if you don't heed the guidance, the warnings when they're given to you. So what does Allah say? That while they think they're rightly guided, the devil is actually averting them away from the guidance. You think you're on guidance, but you're not. And the devil is pushing you even further away. Hatta idha ja'ana, until they come back to Allah for judgment. And he says, and then the person who didn't they realize the messenger, what he was saying was true. And the people who obeyed and listened to the messenger, what he said was true. Then they come to Allah and they say, oh, I wish there was between me and you a distance between the east and the west. How terrible a companion you were. Who they say that to? The devil that was appointed for them. The same thing can be applied to the people who, when you're around them, you disobey Allah and his messenger, when just the week before you weren't. This is what you will say. Allah is telling you your story in advance. He's giving you the answers to the test so that you can ace it. If you would have paid attention to the Quran, you would have known this is coming. This is a possibility. Allah is telling you. The devil is appointed to you. And then he gets you to do the opposite of what Allah wants you to do. And then when you come before Allah, you wish you could get as far away from them as possible. But when you meet Allah, there's no takebacks. You won't be able to redo it. And Allah says, ayah 39, and never will it benefit you on that day, the day of Qiyamah, when you have done wrong, when you have wronged, that you are all sharing in the punishment. As in, it's not going to help you, even if you and your friend together were doing wrong, and y'all are all together being punished by Allah. It won't help you. It's not like there's something heavy to carry, and we all pitch in together, and it's still heavy, but we're doing it together, so it's not that bad. The pain is not that bad because we're doing it together. It won't help you that your companion was with you, leading you astray. The punishment will be for whoever it will be for. So let's heed the warning and the message of Allah. When Allah says that, don't turn away from his signs and from his guidance that he gives to us, because if we do, he will appoint for us a devil to push us even further away. And then when we come before Allah, we will wish that we could get away from that companion, that devil, whether it's a human or a shayateen or both. We'll wish we could get away from them, but it won't be accepted from us now. It will be too late. The warning is here. The warning is now. We have the opportunity to listen, use our intellect, and then act upon that. If we don't take the guidance, then we have only ourselves to blame. Allah make us of those people who accept the guidance and then act upon it. It's not enough to say, well, that makes sense. We have to act upon it. And Allah allow us to do that and forgive us and our families and gather us all in Jannatul Firdaus. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.